Welcome, the Northman Coaching Podcast with Gary and AJ. Thanks for tuning in. Building a better you, shoulder to shoulder, brick by brick. Let's go.
Good evening. Welcome to the Northman Coaching Podcast, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you for joining us. And I'm bringing back AJ again today. Welcome back, AJ.
Brother.
It's been a minute.
Good to be back.
Yes. So AJ has recently taken over the morning devotionals on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. How's that going for you?
Great. It's going good.
Awesome.
Happy to be back in motion.
Yes. It's good to have you back in motion.
Especially with the devotions. Yeah, for sure.
So, and then I'm showing up opposite of AJ on Tuesday and Thursday with the 7 deadly sins. So if you guys are interested, check those out. They got every single Monday through Friday morning. You're either going to get me or you're going to get AJ. So, or you can tune out and watch something else. Doesn't matter to us. Anyway, check those out if you guys want to. So last week I talked about the value of calmness. I was going to bring AJ on, but he had other things that came up last minute. And today we're talking about caring. But AJ wants to touch in on a couple of things with calmness. So AJ, what does calmness mean to you, brother?
So calmness to me, I would say that the biggest thing would be responding versus reacting. I think that is the most important aspect of calmness. I also think that calmness is regardless of the situation or circumstances that are going on around you, especially if it's in a relationship, it's having the ability to keep yourself centered at all times, not allow your emotions to take over in that moment, which is very important because I think as men, a lot of us in those moments, especially of turbulation in a relationship, our emotions can kick in. And that's when we react. That's when we lose control, I guess, for better lack of words. And I don't think that we realize that. And that's why the men's work is so important, because I think that we've all really been taught a lot of that, especially in the world that we grew up in and the time that we grew up in our generation, anyways, even the generation before me. But I think it's getting worse and worse as it goes, where people react versus respond. Everybody is looking for the release, as if everything has to be released in some type of anger or some type of toxic masculinity. And being able to keep yourself calm and have like impulse control is really important.
Okay. I can get some of that. I'm not sure about the toxic masculinity part, but I totally think that people, they react because they want a reaction. If I'm calm in what I'm doing, then I will take care of the problem. And there's not much that you could do to get a reaction out of me. And my calmness would most likely not cause a reaction inside of you. The people want to see that reaction, like social media and all that stuff. So they react to get the reaction.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're right, though. I mean, especially in relationships, a lot of relationships, especially when your wife or your girlfriend is angry, whether she's angry at you or angry at somebody else, she's looking for you to react in that moment so that now you can become the problem. And now she has a reason to really react, and her frustration really comes out, but now it's centered on you. But if you don't allow that reaction to happen, and that's where I say like the toxic masculinity, because I'm not talking about men that have done the work. I'm talking about, the men we were when we were married, or, other men that haven't done the men's work, in those moments, while they're being yelled at and their wife is losing her screws or girlfriend's losing their screws and it gets directed at you, men get caught in their emotions and get upset, and then they get angry. First it's upset, then it's anger, then it's reaction. And that reaction in that moment is toxic, very toxic. And that is masculinity coming from a male.
So how do you control that reaction from coming out?
Well, I mean, for me, in the beginning, that was really learning my values. Yeah, I was going to say learning my values and then learning my boundaries. But it's not. It was more about learning how to remain centered, learning how to have a centered foundation that didn't allow other people to affect who I was, so that I could find a way. So if you want to mistreat me or you want to yell at me, it's okay. You're not going to get a rise out of me because I am myself and
Mhm.
I am in control of myself. So if I'm in control of myself, then nobody else can actually affect me.
Mm.
So doing the men's work brought me to that point,
Okay. And I can agree with
which,
most of that. But for me, I think that's probably how I started with controlling my reactions into becoming a man who responds. But I also set the boundary where she is not going to treat me in a way that I won't be treated. She's not going to yell at me. If she starts yelling, I shut it down right away and I come back to it when we're both cool.
boss,
I won't stand for disrespect. That's one boundary that I will not stand on.
when you say it was different for you, what do you think was most different between the fact that I worked on the values and the centered compared to what you did?
Well,
And
it's not different.
it's
I mean, you have to work on your values and what you stand for, but along with your values come the boundaries. So like when you
okay.
said like she can be mad at me or she can disrespect me and I'll walk away or whatever, or I won't react to that. That's how I was when I started. But now I'm at the point where that won't even happen. I'll shut that down right away. There'll be no disrespect at all. If I'm in a relationship, even if it's you and I, if it's a friendly relationship, there's no disrespect. I would never disrespect you.
Yeah.
And if you're in a loving relationship, and I know it's a lot different when you're in a loving relationship where things get heated and there is disrespect at times, but I do not allow that to happen. And that is usually just a woman's emotions. And she just needs to be, not put in place. That's probably the worst thing to say, but she just needs she's looking to get a reaction. So I stop it right there so there can be no reaction. And when we're both calm, we can come back and discuss whatever the situation is like adults.
Okay. So for the men out there
Mhm.
that haven't done this work,
Join the men's group.
and yeah, I was gonna say, because I know that a lot of our men's work, when I've tried to talk to other people, I get the same response a lot, like, "Wow, easier said than done."
Mhm.
Right. So for a man that's in the moment of a relationship that has a wife or a girlfriend that's, like that on a consistent basis, what would be a good piece of advice? Obviously, join the brotherhood, learn how to go through this process and become a better you and a better man. But what
Well, the
kind
biggest advice
what,
I can give anybody, and it wouldn't be to join the men's group or get a coach or anything like that. It would be to look in the mirror. That's the only thing I can do. I can tell you, look in the mirror, look at yourself. What are you doing wrong? Don't worry about her. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about the government. Don't worry about the church. Don't worry about her. Don't worry about the neighbor. What are you doing wrong? And what are you doing right? And when you
your
see
accountability?
the accountability that you can take, you will want to make a move. Once you realize that you need accountability, then I would say that to look into hiring a coach. That doesn't even need to be me. Or bare minimum, join the men's group. Talk to other men about what's going on where we can hold you accountable. We've had several guys come in the group and they want to be held accountable, but when they hear that it's their fault, they suddenly disappear. That's a man that doesn't want to do the work yet. But if you look in the mirror long and hard and you see what you need to do, when it's time to do that work, you will do that work. Trust me.
I
So
agree with that.
looking in the
I
mirror is
very
the only
much
thing I
agree
can
with
say.
that.
But getting off
Mhm.
of calmness,
Calmness.
and getting
Going to
into the
care.
caring part of the episode.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So caring, from the Oak Values card says, having a showing concern for the well being of others. It's pretty obvious. So when you hear the word caring, what does it mean to you, brother?
One of the biggest things, like I was saying to you before, right? Being a caring man is one of the most important things I think there is having the ability to listen to
Mhm.
somebody else. And I don't mean sit there and, let somebody talk. I mean, actually hearing
Mhm.
what your partner or anybody for that matter is actually saying to you, taking it in. While they're talking, they're not looking for you to fix that situation. They're looking for you to listen and not talk. That's what they're looking for. And I
Absolutely.
think that's one of the most important things when it comes to caring in a relationship. One of the biggest things that I did learn in the beginning of the men's work was being present was the most important thing so far as a caring, loving aspect when it came to my children. To me, my caring aspect was the fact that I was always at work. I made the money and I tried to do everything to give them a great life. But being present was more important. And then when you come home and you're with your family or
Mhm.
you're with your wife or girlfriend, you can't be distracted. You can't still have your head in work. You need to be present and you need to not be somewhere else. That I think those are the two most important aspects of being a caring man. There are many other aspects of being caring, but I think those, in my mind, I think are the two most important.
Okay. I mean, we could talk about this for 17 hours probably.
Mm.
But so do you think have you ever been confused between caring for somebody and people pleasing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That goes into play with exactly what I just said. So I thought, so I've always had a tradition. I brought my family on multiple vacations a year.
Mhm.
I was very lucky in the fact that I had that off time and sick time that I could use to do so. And I thought that being able to take that week each time we had vacation was more important than being present and
Yeah.
not being distracted and not being around, to actually listen to my family and spend time with my family. On another, with my previous marriage, I think a lot of what I did was people pleasing versus genuine caring
Okay.
and not doing the men's work. I never knew the difference between the two. I don't think I thought there was a difference. I truly think I believed that by doing that, I was being that caring man.
I think most people believe that before they start doing the work. And, when I started trying to figure this whole thing out in my life, I realized that, caring is intentional. I want to care for you. Where people pleasing is out of fear. If I don't do this, you will leave me. If I don't do this, you'll hang out with somebody else and I'll be by myself. So as I've done this work, like everything I do in my whole life, every single thing I do is intentional. And if that loses somebody in my life, then it loses somebody in my life. If it doesn't matter to me, my life is full. So if somebody departs my life, then somebody departs my life. I'm not going to chase them down for anything. And that took a long time to really get my head around. Like I had to actually, I remember sitting by myself and not enjoying my own company and really having to get down and learn to love myself. So,
Yeah.
and that's once you get there, you're good.
That goes back to one of the first things that you actually told me to write down
Mhm.
and put in my calendar so that it went off every day with the stand firm, no chasing, trust
Mhm.
God and do the work. And that's something you told me, I would say at least a year and a half ago, that's been in my morning calendar that goes off. But
Mhm.
it is true. I think that a lot of men are very much afraid of losing the comfortability that they have, losing the friendships that they have or the relationships they have. And it causes that people pleasing to come out. And if you have to be a people pleaser to
Mhm.
keep a certain individual in your life, then they don't deserve to be in your life.
Agreed. But that takes a lot. That takes a lot of the inner work, and that's only my next step because even I see it in my daughter all the time. She wants to do things for her friends because she wants to keep them as friends, and that goes right into adulthood. I've been there. You've been there, and I think every man that I've coached and every man in the group has been there at some point. But it's important to be there
Absolutely.
because if you're never there, then you don't know how bad it really is.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
so then the next thing I want to ask you is so that you do things intentionally and that you don't do it out of fear. And I had mentioned, sitting with yourself and loving yourself. And I think the next thing that's important is self care.
Yep.
So why do you think men, and actually I think it's just men really, that struggle with self care or they struggle to care for themselves? Why do you feel like that?
I think first and foremost, I think most of us followed the generation before us, and the generation before us were a hardworking brute force that did a lot of what we do, just
Hmm.
without the important aspects behind it that take care of ourselves. But I think that's first and foremost why men don't do it. But I think that men get stuck up in the fact that today that self-care is taking care of our family. Self-care is paying the bills. Self-care is, going to work on time and having a good job. Like, I think a lot of men get stuck in that aspect that that's actually what self-care is.
So what is self care to you?
To me,
Hmm.
self-care to me is taking care of me first, putting myself before anyone else. And I'm sure a lot of people just thought to themselves, oh, wow, that's a narcissistic thing to say. No, taking care of me first. And I've heard it many times after making that statement. If I don't take care of me first, then I'm not capable of taking care of anybody else.
Very true. Very true.
That goes back to the very first podcast we ever did.
Yep. I hate the word narcissist because I feel like everybody uses that word like, I don't know, like a badge of honor almost or badge of shame. I don't know. I don't know. I think half the people that are called narcissists really are not. And half the people that are, people don't even know they are. But
I think there's a lot of truth in the fact that every individual in the world has forms of narcissism
sure. Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely.
And I think you're right. It is very important to a lot of women to point out that if a man takes care of himself, that then he's narcissistic. That's what he's being in those moments. You're being a narcissist. Like you got to take care of you before you take care of other people. But to go back to the aspect of it, yeah, myself, self care to me is about making sure that I put myself first so that I can be there for other people. I need to take care of, for instance, I've been missing for anybody that watches that doesn't know me personally or is not part of the brotherhood. I've been absent, one, because I had some family medical situations that went on that were quite severe. And then I went in for surgery myself. It was more important for me to take care of myself and heal than it was to make sure that I was on the podcast. Even though the podcast is very important to me, doing the morning devotionals are very important to me, I had to make sure that I took the time to heal and take care of me first in order to be 100% and be here. And I mean, yeah, I am still healing, but I'm at a degree enough where I can sit in the chair and I can focus and I can actually be back to my mental capacity of having these conversations. And I'm back in my work and in my growth phase. But that is self care to me.
Okay. So we're gonna get back into self care in a second, but so to step out to caring, like in the brotherhood, let's be honest, I had to tell you to sit in to care yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And but
you
you did what you had to do. But a true brother will tell another
hold
brother
another one.
that you need to stop, look in the mirror again, and take care of you first. Because sometimes, and I get it, I've been through a lot as well in the past few months, and sometimes you know what has to be done work wise or with everything that's going on, even though things are tough inside or in your personal life, you think that, staying headstrong and getting your head down, getting the work done, that's what's going to help. But honestly, it's not. It is sitting back and taking that time to reflect with everything. So
Yeah,
you did it.
don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
so you did that when you needed to, but I did have to remind you that take a step back, take care of the family, take care of you, and that's a true brother shows up like that.
Absolutely. And that is where I was in the beginning, with the family medical issues. I struggled very much with the idea of backing off because I was riding a fine line there. Even though I needed to be present to a degree, because
Mhm.
unfortunately my father was in a coma, so there wasn't a lot other than being there, but I struggled with that self-care aspect during that time in the first few weeks because I needed to find in that time and in that space how to self care. How was I going to take care of me and make sure that I was still keeping myself centered and keeping myself first so that I was capable of being there for others, like my stepmother, and being there with her, being there to be able to talk to the doctors and deal with those aspects of things, but also make sure that AJ was still okay because AJ still needed to self care for himself. But you're right. As a brother, you stepped in and told me, listen, you need to take this time. Like this is more important. And we're right here when you come
Mhm.
back and we'll kick right back off when you come back. Unfortunately, it's been a bit of time because I had surgery following,
It is
but
what it is, and since, I've had my
that's
issues,
self care.
you've had to take over the morning devotional. So, 'cause when I got back, I wasn't ready to do anything recording wise or with the company. I could have let it wash away because I needed that time and you stepped in for that. So there's
That's what brotherhood is.
yes. As far as this company goes, like it's all about consistency. I want to be out there. with it for everybody. I want to help whoever I can. And that's why we are a brotherhood. I know that if I'm not there, you'll be there. And I know that if for some reason you can't be there, I will be there. And if we're both out, I know I can call on any brother in that community to do whatever needs to be done because we are all there for each other. So can you quickly give me any things that you do currently for self-care or would you recommend to another man or whatever?
Take time for yourself out of the day. Find some time to go and sit with yourself. Quiet out the day, quiet out the job, the relationship, the children, all of it. Take some time, whether it be to talk to your higher power, meditate, or just sit there in utter peace. Take some time for yourself to sit in just complete silence and peace without the worries of anything in the world.
I love it. Beautiful. If I could throw anything on top of that, I would say sleep. That will keep you in a better spot if you're getting your required amount of sleep and quality sleep at that. And then my next biggest thing would be boundaries. You set those boundaries and people will respect you and you'll feel respected and things will start falling into place. Boundaries are very hard to set when you start this work. I had an issue with that, but yeah. So start with what AJ said, take that time out. But as you get better at doing that, work on your sleep, work on your, going to the gym, work on the boundaries, work on all that good stuff. So
Absolutely.
yep. So actually, you touched on this earlier. My question was, can you really care for others if you don't care for yourself? And you pretty much answered that already.
I don't believe you can. I
You
don't.
can't. You can't. I mean, you can do it for a little while, but then that's not really caring. I think that it's going to fall into people pleasing.
Right.
Maybe not fear of losing them, but fear of losing control.
I
Does that
agree
make sense?
100%. I agree 100%.
So back to so you had mentioned the N word earlier, which I don't like that word, but that's narcissist, by the way. Where would you say the line is between caring and trying to control someone else?
Hearing, that's your question. I don't know that I have a quick answer for it.
All good.
Control is a terrible thing when you try to control somebody else, and I think a lot of men try to control everything around them. I don't think that it's anything intentionally that men are set out trying to do. And some men may be very much set out to do it, but I think it's more the aspect of them trying to make sure that everything stays in play the way that they want it to be, and they're that caring aspect may still be there, but yeah, control is when you want things for you. It's all about you. It's not about anybody else. It's about every situation being the way that you want it. It's just it's about you.
I would
That's
say
not
as far as about you, I'd say that's the outcome is about you. And I think that you did touch on it earlier where
Excuse me.
if someone's talking about an issue or something and you just listen to what's going on, you don't try to fix it. When you try to fix that problem without being asked to fix it, you are controlling the outcome. If you come to me with something and I automatically say, well, do this, this, and that, I just fix the problem for you and I'm controlling your situation and you're not going to grow or learn from that. So it's when your kids need help with something and you just give them the answer. That's controlling. And it looks like love, but it's controlling. And then there'll come a point in time when you're not here or you cannot help them and they will not know what to do. And that goes for your kids. That goes for your wife, your girlfriend, whoever. So I think the line between caring and controlling is the ability to listen versus fix, the ability to allow somebody to figure out their problems on their own until they actually ask you for help.
Yeah. And I think that's also where control comes in. They're trying to control getting that recognition for the fact that they fix the situation.
Sure.
They, I think that's the right way to say it.
Sure. Validation, recognition, yeah. And I think most of the guys that come in the group, they have an issue with validation. They want that validation, which is fine. That's normal before you start the work. The ticket is that self-validation, telling you that you're okay. You telling you that you did good. I don't need anybody to tell me I did good. I know that I'm doing good and I know when I'm doing bad. And when you can actually speak that truth to yourself, you are in a great spot. So the last episode we said was on calmness. And when you put calmness and caring together, do you think that people that are calm naturally care better?
Yeah. I'd have to say yeah, absolutely. Because if you're calm, then you have the ability to you're a different person. It's just a completely different individual. If I had two Garys and I had one calm Gary, man, you know what I mean, caring. I say love a lot when I say caring because I know we're not trying to throw love into the mix as well, but what I really mean by love is just that deep caring,
Mhm.
that real deep feeling for another person in those moments. But yeah, I mean, you don't have the ability to be that caring father or caring boyfriend or caring husband or like you just don't have it if you don't have that, that calmness about you. That calmness is what gives you the ability to listen,
Mhm.
to respond versus react. Like, yeah, absolutely.
So I believe that that calmness is what makes the other person in your life comfortable enough to open up, and that's where the caring comes in. When I was married, I was not calm, and my wife didn't really open up much to me because she knew that I couldn't handle it, that I would blow my steam or blow my top off or whatever you want to call it. Now I'm calm. So when I'm in a relationship, with my daughter right now, so she can come to me and she comes to me with so many things. I'm like, I didn't need to hear that. But then I'm like, wait, step back. She trusts me enough to share things that I don't think I need to know, which is good. I mean, I know that I'm doing the work properly. Like I am calm,
Yeah.
I'm open, and I'm trustworthy. And it's not, and so when I say I'm trustworthy, I'm not telling everybody that I'm trustworthy. I'm not saying trust me. Don't trust me. I don't care. I know I'm trustworthy. And I just proved it by finding out information from my daughter that I didn't need to know. She trusts me. That's a great feeling, when your kids and your loved ones can come to you with things that, yeah,
Mm.
we'll just leave it at
Can
that.
throw you off, yeah.
Yeah.
I I get it 100%. I especially actually no, I can't even say especially. All of my boys have always been like that. And sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, why are they telling me this?
So it's funny that
Why would they think I want to know this?
I'm not trying to one up you at all, but you got boys. So when a
Yeah.
girl comes to her
Well,
dad
yeah.
with some stuff, you're like,
Yeah.
"What the
Oh
where's your
yeah,
mother
that's
at?
it.
Where's your mother? I don't need to know this."
Mhm. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right about that. There is definitely a big difference. If your daughter is coming to you with those things, that is a real special bond. When a
Yep.
daughter will come to her father
Yes.
with, those type of intimate conversations that a daughter genuinely would have with another woman, but
Mhm.
she trusts and feels safe enough with
Mhm.
her father. But
And the thing about that I love that the bond that we have built with the trust and me being calm. Like she comes to me when she has issues with her boyfriend, which means a lot. She comes to me when she has peer pressure issues. She told me that she tried vaping. I would have never told my parents that when I was her age. Of course, we didn't vape, but I never went to my
yeah,
parents when I first smoked a cigarette or when
yeah,
I first got high.
would have been
I would
killed.
never. They would kill me. I was terrified. And the fact that she can come to me and she knows that I'm not going to lose my cool. That, I'm going to ask her, well, what was she thinking when she did it? Did she enjoy it? Would she do it again? And then we talk about the consequences and what can go wrong with everything that she's doing or whatever. And I trust her to go out and do the right thing in the future. Will she always do the right thing? Of course not. But I hope these conversations will get her to a good spot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like yelling and getting mad, that's just going to drive them further away and doing
Mm.
things they shouldn't be doing.
And they're never gonna tell you anything. They'll
Exactly.
never share or open up anything. And to bring
Mhm.
some lightheartedness and some funniness to it, I think just about all of us got caught at some point,
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
that cigarettes for our day and age. And it's too funny because I think just about everybody I've ever talked to when they got caught in that moment, we were holding the cigarettes for our friend. And it,
I
it
remember I remember
wasn't
having the pack in my pocket, and my mom's like, "What's that in your pocket?" I'm like, "I'm holding them for my friend." That made sense.
Yep, always, always. And
Yeah.
it's so funny when you think about it now, like, in what world would that have worked?
It didn't,
Of course
b
it didn't.
but
But
we
it's
thought it
like,
did, though. We know they
yeah,
didn't buy that shit for 1 second,
yeah.
but we thought they did. If my daughter came here right
And
now and said that,
it's
I'd be like, "Bullshit."
yeah, it's great. It's great when you think back to those great moments like that. It's one of the biggest joys of having children and for all the dads out there. And I've met so many dads over the last month and talked with so many single fathers, and it's such a great thing. Guys, don't ever forget the importance, whether or not you have a son or a daughter. Like Gary said, it doesn't matter. Your daughter will open up to you if you are that father.
They should trust
If
you.
you, yeah, if she trusts you. If you do have that calmness and that love and care towards your children. And when I say care, make sure it's not people pleasing your children. Make sure it's caring. And that level of trust is there. That bond is so special and so significant. And there's nothing more special. There really isn't. There's nothing more special. And I, like Carrie said, have boys. My boys drive me nuts. My youngest is almost 17 years old. He's in his, I don't even know what you want to call it, mixed between puberty, testosterone, emotions, and everything else. But
All the above.
when you can take a step back and see the amazement and the beauty in that and create a calm atmosphere and real caring atmosphere, you're going to set your child up for a great life and you're going to have amazing memories to look back on. If you don't have that calmness and that caringness about you, the memories are not going to be so great someday. It's not just for you. It's for your children as well. They're
Absolutely.
going to carry that their whole lives.
Absolutely. So I'm going to have some rapid fire questions for you. But first, I want to talk about Joel and Flo Rosario. So when you guys are done watching this podcast, check out their podcast. It is called Sessions and Lessons. They are on all major podcast platforms. They are, he was my guest, I think it was 2 weeks ago. But yeah, their podcast it's really great. It's a little self-help. It's a little family humor. Yeah. But they come out with episodes every Sunday and every Wednesday, all podcast platforms. So check them out. Sessions and Lessons. On Fridays, Glow has her own podcast, and that's called Glowing Off Script. I'm not going to tell you what that's about because apparently she's changing things up. So whenever you decide to watch this episode and you hear about it, I'm just going to tell you to go check her out every single Friday. Also, every podcast platform. Last but not least, check out Joel's book. It is called May December End, and I do not have it in front of me. You got it? Not really in front of you, but okay.
It was right. This
Gotcha.
is the original.
That's the old copy. I have that one.
Yeah, that's that. And this is the new copy here, which is.
There you go. There it is. May December End, The Ballad of Joey
Fingers in
Flowers. So check that book out, guys. Came out last year. It's available on Amazon Kindle. It's available, I don't know. There's a bunch of other places, but then I think Barnes& Noble's, there's an issue with it. But it's also, if you are in Wisconsin, it is at Studio Moonfall, which is a brick and mortar bookshop. They also have a website. Obviously, you can order it there. So check out his book, guys. It really is a good book. It was probably the best book I read all of last year. All right, back to business. Rapid fire questions. So you know how that works, right?
I hope
Questions.
so. I think
Oh, I'm
we've
just
done it.
saying. Some people like to talk. You like to talk.
I'm-
But yeah. So quick
I'm not
answers.
a.
Boom, boom, boom. You ready?
That's the only thing I'll remember. I'm not a fast thinker.
Okay. Think honest. All right. Who showed you the most caring when you were growing up?
Alice Nathan, my best friend's mother.
Okay. What makes you feel genuinely cared for these days? What is one way you need to care for yourself better?
I need to take more time to read my books.
Yeah, you do. Good job. Like you said it, now it's recorded. Now I'm going to hold you to it. What is one way that you think that men fail each other?
Not actually being there for one another, not
Mm.
holding one another up.
Yep, I can agree with that. All right. Can someone be both tough and caring at the same time?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does caring require vulnerability?
Yes.
And the final challenge I have before we end this whole thing is, what is one thing that every listener can do this week to show that they care for somebody else?
Take the time to ask some questions and get to know somebody better and listen.
Okay, cool. I'm going to say this week for me is going to be to hang out and play with my daughter a little bit because she's been away for a month. Not away, down the street, but her cousins are here, so I'm giving her that time. It's going to be to spend more time with my daughter this week. So, but things
like
that
that.
you guys can do out there, you can call your dad, call your mom. If they're still around, call both of them, whatever. Tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, thank you. Go play with your kids. You can pray with someone. You can apologize for something you've done wrong. But if you don't know what that means, go back and check out, I don't know what podcast it was, but if you apologize, that means you need to start making a change right now for your behaviors. It's not just a word. Biggest thing, check in on a brother. And AJ and I, we do that 4 times a week. Want to spill that about a little bit?
Yeah. So we have 3 check-in meetings a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They're quick meetings, but they're to check in on one another as brothers in the Northman brotherhood, which if you go to northmancoaching.com, go up to the top right corner, go to the resources tab, and you can scroll down to the Brotherhood School. That's SKOOL. And come in, you get your first 7 days free, and you get to see what our brotherhood is all about. And trust me, you'll be happy you did. After that, it's only $10 a month. And if you can't spend $10 a month on yourself to take care of yourself and become a better man, then you need to really take a look in the mirror. But anyways, yes, so Monday, We have our goals meetings, reflection for the week. We set our goals with one another and check in, like I said, on each other. On Wednesday, we have our bridge meeting application. It's basically, what have we done since Monday? And what are we going to do to continue on to Friday? And again, check in on one another. And on Friday, we have our RAG meeting, which is a reflection, accountability, and gratitude. And then most important, every Thursday, we have our motivated men's meeting. That is a deep dive meeting. A different man from the group will choose a question each week that is centered around the men's work or circumstances and relationships, divorce, tough times, something that's actually pertains to the men's work. And then we will do our wins and our losses and have open conversation to really take care of one another, hold one another accountable, be there to listen and care about the brother to the right, the left, down. Yeah. So there's quite a few of us. It is amazing. It is amazing. It saved my life. And I think it has saved many, many men's lives.
Mhm.
So come check
Amen
it
to that.
out.
Yep.
You won't be sorry you did.
Even if you don't join this brotherhood, get a brotherhood. Get brothers together. Get men that are focused on growth in your circle and grow. Become better today than you were yesterday. Two things on that. What AJ was talking about, the Monday is, setting our goals, intentions, but it's also perspective. It's changing the way you see things. So instead of you have to go to the gym or you have to go to work, you have the opportunity to go to work. You have the opportunity to get fit. You have changed everything from I have to an opportunity. And then as far as when he said, wins and losses, losses don't have to be a loss. They could be a struggle. If I'm struggling with something, it's not lost yet. I might just need a brother to kind of change the picture for me to make it more attainable, I guess. So,
And that's why it's so great. Like I said, in the brotherhood with the, holding one another accountable, but actually being there to listen to another brother. Because like Gary said, just because you see it as a loss doesn't mean that it is a loss. Maybe you just need a different perspective. Maybe you just need another brother to hold you accountable to that situation.
absolutely. All right. So I'm gonna wrap this up then with just I want to tell you guys that the world does not need men who pretend not to care. It needs men who care enough to stay calm, to stand firm, to speak the truth, to protect the people they love, and serve without expecting anything in return. Caring is not weakness. It is one of the strongest things a man can do.
It was great to be back. Thank you so much, Gary, because you have really helped out while I was going through everything. And that really means the world to me. And again, for everybody out there, come and check out northmancoaching.com. We look forward to seeing you. Have a great day. Have a great night. Or have a great afternoon.